All right, the race for governor does top the ballot. It's a big one to watch. Governor Kemp, of course, term limited, so it's an open seat. More than a dozen candidates vying for that spot. 8 Republicans on the ballot, including some familiar faces at the Capitol, like Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, Attorney General Chris Carr, and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones.
There are also a few familiar faces on the Democratic side. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, Olu Brown, Amanda Duffy, former Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, Jason Estevez, Derek Jackson, and former Labor Commissioner Michael Thurman. We want to take a check-in with our sister station in Atlanta.
They are helping us cover dozens of races. Danielle Nottingham is live. She is joining us now from Michael Thurman's watch party. Good evening, Danielle.
Good evening. Yes, things aren't quite started here yet, but people will start trickling in here soon in Decatur. And Mike Thurman is a longtime Georgia Democrat and former DeKalb County CEO who is running, of course, for governor this year. And Michael Thurman announced his campaign in 2025, saying he wants to focus on lower costs for working families, improving health care access, strengthening public education, and reducing political division within the state. He argues that the statewide experience and bipartisan approach make him different from his other Democratic candidates in this field, which is, of course, packed. And his campaign message centers on unity and practical problem solving rather than partisan conflict. He says if elected, Thurman would become Georgia's first black governor and the first Democrat to win the governor's office in nearly 3 decades. So, of course, everyone has their eyes on this campaign today, and we don't know if we're going to be in a runoff or not. You need 50% plus the other vote. So we'll see what happens tonight. Back to you.
Hi, Danielle Nottingham reporting in Atlanta. Thank you very much. Plenty of action going on up there. We'll continue to follow the gubernatorial race throughout the night. We'll be checking in with Keisha Lance Bottoms' campaign. That's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
As we watch the results roll in tonight, we're also keeping an eye on key issues that impact Central Georgians, like data centers.
As plans for these centers become more common across Georgia, we asked some of the Democratic candidates for governor their plans on regulating or even restricting data centers. Here's what some of them had to say.
At the end of the day, we could become an innovation hub here by requiring these data centers to use closed-loop water systems so they're not soaking up 15 million gallons. Guaranteeing that ratepayers aren't having to shoulder the burdens of some of this grid development and transmission upgrades and generation upgrades. There's a better way to be doing this, but just running with the spigot wide open is certainly not the right way.
I will make sure that we hold those data centers accountable to paying their fair share. Georgians should not be paying for the infrastructure, for the utility, for the power, for the water that goes into these data centers. That cost should be borne by the data centers themselves.
We don't know fact from fiction. What we know is that there are rising utility costs in this state. We know that there are concerns about the environmental impact, but we don't have all of the information to make an informed decision. I want to put a pause on construction of them.
We'll continue breaking down some of the key issues in this year's primaries tonight with our election analyst, Chris Lawrence. Scan the QR code on your screen now to download 13W MAZ Plus and stream with us tonight at 8.